J-Rod Plays here, and today I'll be making a supplemental video for my guide on the new mode of Bulwark Ops, the Evolution mode. And today the modifiers are going to be Dark Fog, Void, Breaker, and Regeneration. And so I'm going to show you kind of how I handle that, just in case you're having trouble with this day's modifier. And like I said in the other video, I'll be making subsequent videos until we run out of combinations that I think maybe are not necessary for a video. But since it's a new mode and kind of we're second weekend, a lot of people are still struggling, trying to help everybody kind of get at least at a decent spot for the rewards, or at least get their weekly stuff done, get their event done. And so if you watch my other video, you know that I tend to like Efriti and Ikora, the Hidden in this case. And the reason why I chose an Ikora the Hidden is because her Confine ability is going to suck targets in and keep them from moving. Efriti could do the same thing. They can lock things down with their spear and also knock targets off the map. But I'm going to stick with Ikora, and I have Void for the element just to make sure that I'm matching the element of the day. Now, of course, you don't pick your towers in evolution mode. You just go in with random towers. And I'm not going to necessarily go too deep into the strategy on this video. If you'd like to see the full video, I'll have a link in the description to my full guide. It's a long, comprehensive guide, as much as I could get in, that period of time without kind of stretching things out too much. The video was already kind of long. But essentially, you want to start out with rare towers. Basically, all rare towers are going to be your base in most cases, unless you're on a shielded day. So today is not that, so it's a lot more chill. And the whole idea is you're looking for currency towers. And so you want at least 2 currency towers, and in this case I got 1. I'm going to try to salvage this run, but I would like at least, if I'm trying to go for like a longer time frame, if I'm trying to get into the 20s, into the high 20s on a run, that's what I would go for, is 2 towers to get a good start. So here we're going to start the wave, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to get this tower here, hopefully, to be a currency tower, because this tower is in a good spot to hit both sides as well. And if I have people coming this way in a group, I always try to kind of hold them up with my abilities early on so that they drop the polymer early. If I happen to have like a couple of towers on this side, then I would favor this side, for example. So right now, it's just kind of a little bit of a waiting game because we're trying to make sure that we're getting all the polymer that we can in a shorter period of time, and we're putting them into vital places. Now, in my other guide, my normal Bulwark Ops guide, I tend to build out a little bit of the front and then make sure that the back line is set, because that's where enemies tend to get to if you're pushing higher levels then. But in this mode, you're going to want to make sure that you're dealing with the front line first because of the way that the tower setup is going to be. Now here I'm just going to skip forward. Another thing to note, if you haven't watched the other video, that the super weapon now has the option to summon support. That's going to be really strong. You're going to want to make sure that you have support for your characters up all times when you start getting yellow bars. Anytime you see a yellow bar come out, you're going to bring out the hero character, because that's going to save you, and that's going to keep you from not being able to run around and gather polymer. If you have a lot of income towers, you're going to have a lot of polymer on the ground, and there's a cap on how much polymer can be earned, and you don't want to hit that cap. So now that we've got that done, I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to drop a tower here, and let's see what we get. All right, we got a can, which is fine. That one is going to be a good spot for our anti-dark fog tower. And then the zealot here is getting hit as well still, so that the dark fog is not affecting this tower. Now I'm going to be trying to just increase range on my can, so that way they can hit everything there. Another thing to note, in my other video, I went over some of the description differences. There's a lot of mistranslations. And in that video, you'll see that I've kind of decoded some of those translations, and we figured out what they actually mean and what those would do. So I didn't get an income tower on that side. I already have one over here, and it's doing okay for now. So I'm just going to try to spend a little bit here. Now, I only ever do the 60%. Initially, in my other video, I talked about that I thought that the 60% initially was a waste because I didn't know that it was actually leveling the tower. But if you do happen to get a level, you'll notice that the little chevron there on the left changes. It goes to a 2, so you know you're actually leveling. And yes, it does alter the tower itself, but at least you're getting a level out of that, and you don't always go on bad runs. Like sometimes you may like drop 4,000 into a tower, doesn't upgrade, but it gets cheaper as you go. So there's really not too much of a loss in that. In the end, it either evens out to buying the towers up all the way, and in the end of it all, though, when you're going from a purple tower to a orange tower, it makes up the difference because you end up with a 3-star orange tower, level 3 orange tower, which can be very expensive to put up. So we got another can here. I'm going to try one more time to see what I can get. And this time I ended up with a magnetized clay, which is great. As you'll see, this is a polymer tower. This is a currency tower. So now we're set up pretty good. We've got a tower there and a tower there generating polymer on both sides. And I'm going to leave those towers for last. I'm not going to upgrade them as often as the other towers. And now that I've done that and we have enemies going to come out here, I'm going to build up my base on this side, and let's see what I end up getting. So Hoback's not really helpful. It does, I think, drop a little bit of additional like bonus damage orbs on the ground where you can shoot them and they explode, but it's not the greatest tower in general, so I'm going to probably try to upgrade that one first to something more useful. But now you can see we got a lot more polymer, and you'll notice what I'm doing is I'm just using my ability to group things up for those towers so that they can chunk down, and I'm not killing them too soon because I want to give my towers time to hit them and build up that polymer. That's another thing a lot of people may do early on is they may lay waste to enemies while they still can with their abilities and their weapons and stuff. But if you're a little patient, you can allow your towers to get it done. You'll end up with more polymer in the end. So let's see what I get here. I ended up with an otter. Let's try again. And a can-can. Well, it's in a good spot. It's an anti-fog tower, so I'm going to leave that one alone. I'm not going to mess with that one anymore. Just going to grab a little bit more polymer here, see if that puts me enough to, if I get a refund, I'll be able to buy another couple of upgrades. So now that I have a little bit of polymer saved up, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to wait. I'm going to see which side is kind of weaker than the other sides. And based on where the enemies get a little farther along, that's when I'm going to say, okay, let me go ahead and um, let me take care of that side first and start building up that side. Also, too, I'm not sure, how, if you're newer to the game or not, whoever's watching this video, you'll know that between rounds you get chunks of polymer as well for completing rounds. So sometimes you'll maybe only have like 1,000 polymer. You'll complete the round, you end up with like 3,000 polymer. That's a good time to either build out in the spread of an area or to specifically pick a tower and you're focusing on this tower, trying to get it up to maybe the daily tower, something more useful to that side. That's where I would save that money and do that. So nothing's really getting ahead of anything else right now. I'm just going to build out evenly. And on the upgrades, you'll notice what I'm doing is I'm just picking general upgrades unless I have a tower that I know I'm going to keep. So like can-can towers, I'm going to usually keep for a while. So if I get a can-can upgrade, I'm choosing that. Magnetized clay, I'm going to keep. So if I get an upgrade for that, I'm going to choose that. But otherwise, I'm choosing like the all arc, all void upgrade, all solar upgrade, because those are going to be general upgrades that'll stick with you through the entire run. All right, so that's a move cam there. I'm going to keep that one there. It's a nice income tower. Okay, like I said, every time you get these guys pop out, you're going to want to bring up your backup there. And what I tend to do is I tend to watch the corners, and as stuff piles up in the corners, I'll try to group them up for my income towers, my currency towers to take them down and give me more polymer. So far, so good. This has actually been a pretty smooth run. I've gotten the 2 towers that I need early on, and they're generating pretty good income. If anything is a little further back, this Moocam's going to help as well. I haven't really had to babysit either side that much. Our little help over there is going to be nuking that side. I'm just going to group everything up so it doesn't get too far away. Now, normally I do tend to go with the attack speed upgrade in regular endless, but in this case, I like the additional range for the towers. That way they can help out sooner. And since a lot of these towers are not towers that you tend to favor, you're going to be wanting to try to make sure that any tower that you have can contribute in whatever way it's designed that is kind of helpful to you. So let's go ahead and try to upgrade this guy here. I just have a feeling it's going to be an expensive one, which it is. And another can-can. I'm going to go ahead and bring up our help here and just kind of keep an eye on these corners there. what I tend to do is I tend to pop my abilities so that I can kind of lock them down and keep them in place for my towers as long as possible. And then once I know that this side is pretty much well handled, then I come over to this side and just see whatever's rounding the corner over there. And I try to space out my abilities just to make sure that I'm not kind of overusing them, and I can give as much time in between my ability regen as I can. And here it looks like, again, it's a good time to do a polymer run because I got a bunch of polymer on the ground. I want to make sure that that polymer doesn't stack up to the point where um, I run out of the ability to get more polymer. All right, so here's why I go with the 60%, because now that we've got a level 3 tower, I only have to spend 750 to get it to another level. And then now that it's the purple, I can just spend 750, and now boom, it is now a level 3 tower, which normally costs, I want to say 3,000 to start and 3,000 to upgrade on a guarantee. So you're looking at 3,000 three times and then another 3,000, and I didn't spend anywhere near that once I got to that 750. So sometimes you do spend the whole amount basically getting the tower, but sometimes you don't, and in those times you don't, it makes up for the times that you would have otherwise. And so now I'm ahead, and I've got a good tower that can stun enemies in a good spot too. As I pay attention to the upgrades. This one's called Musk Mole upgrades, and I get those. The Muskrat here in this position will be able to reach basically the entire battlefield, even over to here. And if it's the only one that I get, that's still going to be helpful because it'll still catch all the little stuff and group of all the little stuff that it can. And today is not like an unstoppable day, or today doesn't have the fast vandals. So I don't have that threat of enemies just getting past the orb before it even hits the ground. And most of this stuff is going to get backed up by that upgrade. As you can see, just with these two towers and that Mukam in the back, now all of a sudden I have 6,000, 9,000 polymer to work with. So I'm going to keep this can here again because it's dark fog, but I am going to upgrade the one here next to it on this side so I don't have to baby this side as much. That side is where I'm going to focus next though, because that's where the enemies were getting farther along. I just want to make sure I have something good on this side first. All right, we got another muskrat for this side. So this side is pretty much covered. Now let's take a look and see what we got on the other side here. Apparently this is a muskrat run. You're just going to see nothing but arc flying around. It's not necessarily the greatest, I think, for a long run, but I should still get somewhere in the 20s. Now, since I have this can there, I'm going to try to get this can here first to see what I end up with on the corner here. I'm going to make sure I get out my hero, so that way nothing gets too far on me. Remember, I'm going to keep this corner here stuck, so that way they have enough time to get hit. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. If I can get this corner here stuck, I will do that. Coming back, same thing. Lock that corner down. And I'm going to pick up some polymer because it's getting a little bit crazy. And like I said, I'm going to have to focus on Arc and Musk now because those are going to be the things that I ended up picking up the most, and I want to make sure I don't waste that. Okay, so this ended up being a Coyote, which is another polymer tower. I'm going to leave that one alone. I'm going to start working on this side of things back here. And another Muskrat. At least I got one on this side, so pretty much covered the whole map in Muskrats at this point. I assume that it's going to be just a couple of cans and all Muskrats by the time we get into things, because just that's the way that the rolls are happening. Again, increasing the attack tower range for that, for arc. Actually, I'm going to leave that one alone. Work on this one here. So it looks like the left side does need a tad bit more help than the right side. I kind of want to keep this can here, so I'm going to actually focus on this one. Another coyote there. Let's do arc. Another muskrat, of course, that's expected. And another muskrat. Yeah, it's definitely broken today. It's just going to be all muskrats all the time. So let's just go straight arc. I mean, we've got a ton of muskrats. I'm sure they're going to hit like a truck. I mean, now that I've got this magnetized clay here, I'm going to switch this one up and see what I can end up getting. Maybe I can get a high-end can here. And if I do, then yep, now I can work on this front can because I have a can on the corner now that can hit more things. I'm going to change this one out. So I'm going to leave that can there to be the, the anti-fog on that side. And then I'm going to upgrade around it. Like, I kind of do want to keep this slag launcher here just because it buffs the can, but I feel like, the fact that I leaned into the arc so much, and it's probably going to end up being another muskrat, probably help with the damage overall. Yeah, there it is. It's a muskrat. Jesus Christ. Craziest run. It's got to be a bug, right? It can't be intended. Just got to hold stuff in place long enough for the muskrat avalanche to start hitting them, and they just melt. Okay, so stuff's getting a little out of hand on this side. Let's try to get a good tower here. And that kind of makes me wonder what would happen if I got a exotic tower off of the muskrat. Is it going to go to the little muskrat similar tower, the one like that has like a dark bolt or whatever that fires similar to the muskrat? I bet you that would be the upgrade that would be favored, because this match certainly has a type. Oh, finally something different. Anesthesia. Okay, I can work with that. And an understatement. Okay, something to match with the can over here in the corner. Now, one of the things that is a little bit concerning is that I have a lower level can on this side for the dark fog setup, and the stuff is probably going to get by it for the most part. So eventually, when I do upgrade as I get higher up, it's going to be kind of risky because now I'm going to have like dark fog stuff basically walking past a lot of that there. So that I am not looking forward to. That's why I was happy to have this one can here in the corner that's really strong. Now I got to decide, what I want to do in this situation, which these cans I decide I want to get out of here. Like part of me wants to kind of gamble and just dismantle this and throw down like a 10k epic one to try to get a stone hoof, but that's just how things work out in this case. I'm probably not going to get it. Oh, I forgot to summon our help here, so stuff's going to get a little farther than normal. Now, another thing too, whenever you pop your super on Ikora, it does also have that same ability to lock things down. So I tend to save the super until stuff gets like grouped up right here in the middle, and then I can drop it on them from there. So what I think I'm actually going to do, I think I'm going to guarantee upgrade this one here with the 21k, and then if I do get something like Stonehoof, then I can get off that can there in that corner. Because right now I'm pretty set. I don't see a lot of stuff getting by. This magnetized clay is a 3. I mean, I guess I could get something here extra for cheap. Yep, there's another muskrat, of course. And, I mean, they hit hard. You can see here that these muskrats are taking their toll on the earlier summons here. And if I can hold things down like that and just kind of lock them into position to start getting hit 3 or 4 times, it really does cook. Like this left side is pretty straight too, because I don't see a lot of stuff rounding this corner on me. I can kind of hold that knight in place there, but not at a point really where I have to be babysitting too much. I do not like, though, how much these bosses are getting by here. But it is helpful because I am getting more currency off of that. So the Unconscious XL, I want to say for sure that is going to be the Anesthesia XL. I'm kind of stuck with this can here. I got to keep that one there. Everything else is basically upgraded. And I don't want to get rid of my income towers just yet because I'm still trying to get this 21K put together here for this corner and seeing if I can get something to replace the can. Something that may deal with the dark fog that's on the epic side or the exotic side. I'm going to use my super here. All right, let's grab all the polymer real quick. And let's pray and let's see what we get here in the corner. Dark Bolt. So additional void and arc damage, jolt and volatile. Not ideal. Not ideal indeed. Let's see what kind of damage this thing does here. Kind of think we might have been better off with the understatement. I feel like stuff was getting cooked harder on this side. It is a little bit of a gamble with these exotic towers. Thankfully, we can still lock these enemies down. All right, well, let's buff it at least. The Dark Arrow now we know is the Dark Bolt. And that pause there that you had in between the rounds there is exactly why I wanted the button to be more like a button you could hold so that you can speed up the enemies walking. That way you can make sure that whenever it's time to end the round, you could just speed them through to the end. And in the times that you have these slow spawn moments, you can really cut down some seconds, which when you're grinding out like whole, days worth of these events and each one of them take 15, 20 minutes, you can really knock down minutes at a time, which add up. You save yourself like a half hour in the day of grinding, just being able to pick whenever the enemies spawn and how fast they are. And so again, I'm debating on if I should use my super here. I'm going to use it there. And so now we're getting kind of to the point where I am having to use a ton of ammo. I'm getting kind of locked in by these things that are going to annoy me. And even though we did get that there, part of it was because I didn't summon the help that I should have when I should have. It is getting to the point now where like this setup is going to need some help. It's not going to be able to do it all by itself. And I didn't get rid of my two magnetized clays because they were still getting me pretty good income. But right now I feel like it's slowed down a little bit for whatever reason. I don't know if it's because stuff has been getting taken down faster than the magnetized clay can drop the polymer, or maybe I just got behind and let the polymer stack up, but I feel like I should have had more polymer on that round. This time around, I'm going to sit back and I'm going to baby this. As soon as it's up, I'm going to pop it. And I'm going to hold these guys back as much as I can. Right there's a good spot. See, that's annoying. I kind of missed this one here. Now I got to figure out kind of where I want to balance this, which side I'm going to lock down first. This guy for sure needs to be locked down. I'm trying my best to keep these guys locked into place, but my towers are just failing me really hard right now. And probably just going to be able to save this night only. Gotta let all that stuff go there, unfortunately. And that's it, wave 21. So if I probably wouldn't have had so much of an issue with the summoning and gotten off this one here, I probably could have got to like 23, 24, 25 on this. But I just wanted to show everybody how on a day like this, you can still get into the 20s no problem. And that should still be good for most people to get into the top 30% to get your rewards for next week whenever we get our Bulwark rewards. I was a little bit annoyed when I logged in this week because I didn't pay attention to the timer. I thought that it was going to be like the ultimate pack hunt where every week you ended up getting your rewards, your crystals, so that way you can upgrade your exotics. But that's not the case. It's every 2 weeks on a cycle. And so right now, you know, again, as you get better and better at this and you start getting your towers up and you get up into the upper 20s, that should normally be good enough to have you in the top 10% range. And so you have the three ranges, right? You got your top 10%, your 11 to 30, and then 31 to 60. And for most people, you'll end up here in the 31 to 60. But even if you can sneak into here, like these 3 and 4 crystals are good. 5 is just a luxury. Ever since they've put the battle refined crystals in the store, it's been a lot easier to deal with the exotic weapons because these exotic weapons do take quite a bit of these crystals over time to get fully upgraded on both sides. And now you can come into here and you can sell your fish, just knock out a bunch of fishing and get enough to buy almost one of these. And then if you have your blessing and stuff, that'll get you over. Obviously, you have other ways to pick up some of these by selling other materials and things that you gain. But the fish was a nice little addition because it's basically that one extra crystal worth every week that you can get. So if you have any additional questions or concerns, you can go ahead and drop me a comment down below. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to put in the pinned comment the link to my full video if you need to actually have a full description of what's going on and kind of go over the towers and how the towers work and everything. My guide will be there, also in the description. And then on the videos that I make subsequently, I'll be posting the other videos links so that just in case you come across a video and you need a specific modifier, just check the pinned comment as they make progress below and you'll kind of see a list of videos that I have available on the topic. Thanks very much for watching the end, and I'll see everyone in the next one.